Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is.
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking, mi general?
Yeah. You know what it is, man. So, it's hectic. What are you using? How do I even share? All right. I guess we'll try what we can try, to be honest. But no, I'm good, bro. I'm good. It's been a great week. I think you would like to say thank you, Trump. He said that we're going to be winning. And, the wins have been coming in on both sides, your side, my side. I think we have to take this moment to, shout out Don T, right? Give him his flowers is what the youths are saying these days. So he said the economy will do well, the economy is going to recover, and I know the economy is doing wonderfully. So yeah. I cannot say more than that.
Siabo.
Shout
We
out
give
to Don
thanks.
P. Yeah. But yeah, let me see if I can share it. But guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo,
And my name is Senna.
the soon to be loser of the Europa League final. Oh yes, I cannot wait. It's a big game tonight. My manager is a United fan, like British United fan, right? He's from London, which is also doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So he's so arrogant, man, when it comes to United, and he's like, it's funny because he's a bad faith debater. When you have football conversations, he intentionally debates in bad faith, right? Because he's trying to be jokey, right? So in the office, I felt so bad. We were having a conversation. So the guy that sits next to him is another British guy who's an Arsenal fan, and then our CFO is an Arsenal fan as well, right? So the CFO usually comes to where we are in the office and we'll talk football and stuff like that, right? Like it literally, he's one of the few reasons I actually like going into the office, because I know if I'm not in the mood to work, I just spark a football debate and he bites every single time. And we're talking out loud, bro. Like as in disturbing people who want to work type shit. But obviously, if I'm keying about football with the management, yes, what can you say, right?
What can you say?
So look, I was laughing because he was like, he basically said, if Manchester United win, or rather when, right, that United arrogance, of course, when United win the Europa League tonight, it's fair to say United have had a more successful season than Arsenal. And unfortunately, I'm seeing a common thread amongst a lot of Arsenal fans, right? You guys are really easy to poke fun at, man. Like they both caught feelings, bro. Both my colleague and the CFO, like they just couldn't bring facts to the table. Like it was just, you know what I mean? Like it was just kind of, I was like, man. So you tried to come for Chelsea. I was like, chief, relax. At the end of the day, because my argument for Chelsea was very, very simple. If you guys win Europa League and we beat Nottingham Forest this Sunday, 100% Chelsea's had the more successful season because we've both have Champions League. So, they cancel each other out. Then I'm looking at league positioning, and then we can look at trophies, right? So if we don't have the trophy, if we don't have our Conference League trophy, then, okay, I can listen to Senna say, United was more successful, but I'll debate and be like, no, the league form counts for more than, whether or not Chelsea had a trophy. But whatever, it's a debate, right? It's a debate. Yeah. People can have a conversation about that. But the Arsenal side, it was just, if United win, like, obviously Arsenal has had the better season, I would say. But again, when you use the keyword successful, right? I don't know. I guess United fans can say they walked away with a pretty decent trophy. They were unbeaten in Europe. and they're in the same tournament that Arsenal will be in next year, right? So they get the money, they get the trophy, but Arsenal just get the money, right?
It's a
So I
lose-lose
don't
for
know.
Arsenal in any event today, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Spurs.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even know what's
yeah.
worse. So for the Arsenal fans, I know obviously they don't care about Spurs. They didn't grow up in London, so they're Abalanda, right?
Yeah,
But I think
yeah.
Arsenal, the institution, like I think globally, like when you look at it, like okay, as a football club, how seriously do we take ourselves? Yeah, I think Spurs winning makes it a bit challenging. Although if United lose, oh, it's going to be so. Do you know?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Oh my god, if you guys lose, whew, just delete
Like
my number,
I
fam.
think the
Delete
post
my number.
mortem.
I've got 2 bottles of Red Bull in the fridge just to make sure that I'm up for kickoff and all the way through. Like that is a generational hate watch, and I cannot wait.
But I don't believe I don't see it with Man United. Like I don't see how United win this game. Like there's a part of me that
Nah, man, Spurs. This without Kulusevski and Madison, like, nah. I'd be shocked personally. I'd be very very pleasantly shocked if Spurs win. Because then I don't care about Spurs because I don't, as a Chelsea fan, Spurs don't mean nothing to us, right? So if they win, I'm actually going to be happy for them. You know, actually, I'll be more happy for Ange. I really want Ange to stick it to the British media. So that's who I'm personally rooting for. Spurs, I don't care, but I really, 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 really want Ange to win a trophy in his second season. That'll be the perfect circle back moment of the whole entire season, right? And I get to flame United at the same. I'm never on time in the office. Tomorrow, I promise you, I will open the doors to the office before the cleaners. I will clean with the cleaners, make sure that my manager's seat is ready. I'm gonna get balloons, and he's gonna have to wear like a party hat the whole day because it's going to be generational. But I don't know. I think game wise, I think it could be a really good game. I think both teams are gonna go for it, bro, because they know what's on the line. I think it's gonna be. People think it's gonna be a shit game, but I think it's gonna be a really good game. It could be one of them, Barcelona, um, Inter Milan type games. That's what I think.
you reckon. Do you know what? I think I can't wait to watch this game only because I think if it was Ten Hag in charge, I think I'd be more confident we'd win. Only because I think he had a thing for cup finals. Like he had a thing of just bringing the best out of the players when it was finals. I don't know if it was getting the tactics right or managing the occasion, but there was just something about Ten Hag when it came to winning cups, and even if he lost the one against City, actually played pretty okay that game. I haven't seen anything from this United team, bro, against any English team to say they can do anything tonight.
But you know what?
Like
Here's
I've
my theory
seen,
about what you've just said.
not like there's not
When
been one performance in the Premier League that you can point to and say these guys can do it.
so here's what I think about players, professional footballers. I think if they get to themselves and when they get themselves to a cup final, right? In as much as they may not like the coach, the tactics, or no, Guti A, I'm being sold at the end of the season. Like all these things factor into footballers' mindset, right? But in a cup final, I think they put all of that aside and say, gents, today we leave it all on the pitch in a cup final. And I think
Which
that's how
is
you guys ended up beating City, not necessarily because of Ten Hag, right? But it was one of those like, look, here's the gaffer's instructions.
yeah,
Let's actually try to follow them and leave everything on the field. And then it was like,
yeah,
oh, we won the game, right?
yeah.
And I think that could be what will happen with Amarim, where all of a sudden his ideas, people are like, how? This is what he's been asking you
And
guys to do the last
and to
6
be
months.
fair,
You
they
know?
they went to Anfield this season and they played well. They went
Yeah.
to the Emirates and they played well, and they even went and won at City, losing everywhere else.
No,
So
but the
you're
City.
like,
Let's scrub the City one. The City capitulated in great fashion in that game. That was impossible.
of course,
The City
but I
game was
don't think
insane.
but they didn't dominate the game at all. You know, it was almost kind of even.
I'll disagree, but for the sake of our time, let's. It's fine. It's fine. I agree. It's fine.
Outside of those games, there's really been nothing else. Like if you put aside the Europa League matches, which have been good, but Amarim's also admitted that the reason the performances have been good in Europe is because there's no physicality or the intensity of the Premier League that they have to deal with. So Casemiro's all of a sudden back to being Casemiro of old. And Garnacho all of a sudden looks like he doesn't look like that small winger who can be bullied. He all of a sudden looks like, he's got control.
But
And
why are you guys so shit against Tottenham? I want to understand that before the game.
we've played Tottenham at the worst moments this season. So if you actually look at all three matches, they were terrible, terrible. The first one came after the Liverpool game, where we got beat by Liverpool, and it was Ten Hag already on thin ice. Like imagine the season starts in 12 manager, you're about to lose your job anyways. Bruno got a red card first half, played the whole game with 10 men, we lost 3-0. That was the first one. Mitigating circumstances, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll give you the red card. Okay.
The second one was Amarim's first game. No, one not first game. I think one of first, second, or third. Like early on in his reign. I think we had people like Malacia and Ericsson playing. I think Anthony got some minutes. I think we lost that one to Spurs. So you're like, okay, he's still trying to get his ideas in. He just arrived, whatever. The third one, that one is the one where you're like, hey, could you have done better? Because it was a cup thingy, cup
I think
quarterfinal.
semi-final, right?
It was a quarterfinal.
Oh, quarterfinal.
Yeah,
Okay.
quarterfinal against. So you were hoping, okay, in the Carabao Cup, do something. He rotated a little bit. I think we also had some injuries, and then it was just a nothing performance. So that's why I'm even like tonight. Like there's been nothing this season that I've seen every Saturday, Sunday when I watch this team. That's inspiring me that they'll beat another English team.
Well, I guess we will find out, folks. Tune in to your local tavern, Super Sport, Bein Sports, wherever, Paramount Plus, wherever the game is being shown,
Yeah.
Sky Sports, and it should be a very, very interesting game. Lastly, score predictions.
Spurs go 1-0 up. Maybe they even go 2-0 up. And then 2-2 goes to extra time. And United win 3-2 in extra time.
Okay. I think Spurs win 2-1 in regulation.
Side note, do you think this will be the most watched Europa final ever? Europa League final ever? I think it just might be,
I think probably just because by Europa standards, this final probably has the two biggest brands by Europa standards, right? Because I don't think there's ever been a PSG or a Barcelona or a Madrid in a Europa final that I remember in the last 20 years. So if we're talking brand for brand, 100% United is huge and Spurs is huge. So yeah, it could be. It really could be. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because obviously the Sevillas of the world aren't as popular, right? I would think aren't as popular as a Spurs or a United, and the opposition even worse.
I read an article that when they budgeted for a Bilbao final, they budgeted for, I think, the city and even like UEFA. They hadn't planned for this many people.
They didn't expect it.
Need to come to the stadium. I think they thought it was going
But
to be
that doesn't make any sense.
No, but
when was this done? It depends. When was Bilbao chosen, right? Because if you knew at the beginning of the season,
I think they
United and Spurs are in it.
They choose well in it, but I think even now they'll probably be deciding where the Champions League final will be next year. So they already know. So that
I mean, if it's at this point, then
can plan.
Yeah,
all of those things.
Then it makes sense.
So
it makes sense.
But I think for them, it was already thinking, okay, cool, it'll be hosted in Bilbao, and you're thinking that it might be like Bilbao versus, I don't know, Lyon or Ajax,
Yeah.
or you're not
Because that's
thinking
what the
it's going to
tournament is
be
for, right?
United v Spurs, because those games
Yeah.
should be at a Wembley. They should be at the Allianz, like really, really big stadiums that can handle that many people in cities that can accommodate that many people. Because I think even now they were just saying there's no accommodation for fans traveling from wherever. The city is just not seeing that
Yeah,
much
100%.
tourism before.
Because that's not who the tournament is for, right? It's like it's putting me to go play basketball with a bunch of primary school kids, and it's just not going to make any sense, right? So I do understand, again, I think it's just one of those, like, look, this is the year that United and Spurs were in it. I don't think this happens again next year. Because all the big Premier League teams, when I say big, I mean like commercially, should be in the Champions League next year, right? So even if they get two English teams and it becomes like Forest versus Villa as an example, they're not going to have this huge issue with accommodation and size and etc. So I think it's just one of those, like, we were unlucky, we had two English teams that did shit in the Prem, and they've dropped into this tournament where
I
they're
would
supposed to be, and
not
it
be
is what it is.
surprised. I would not be surprised if UEFA fixed this game for Man United.
That would be really harsh on Tottenham, man. It would be
It
really
would be.
I hope Spurs win. I genuinely want them to win a trophy. I want Ange to win a trophy. I think United can
You
suffer.
can try
It's
next
okay.
year. You can try it next year. Although
You won't have a job. What do you mean?
No, Spurs can try next year. I think my one fear with United, right, is a cup win. Last season, the cup win was good, but then I think some players stuck around longer than they should have because the feeling was good. So I think we left with everyone thinking, okay, it was just injuries and whatever. We don't need like wholesale changes. But yeah, I think now there must be a realization, win or lose. Or to some guys, this is their last game for the club, their last serious game.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But as I mentioned, we don't have time, Mr. Moy.
Yes.
So I will leave the football because the time has left us. So first things first, just wanted to put a point of order out there. So I mentioned that an individual, slid in my wife's DMs talking about oxtail and peanut butter. Said individual demanded the apology be as loud as the disrespect, because what he said was, I didn't say oxtail and peanut butter. I said oxtail with rice and peanut butter. of which to me that basically is translated as tomato. So I'm here to tell that individual that, Chief, there's no apology coming your way, because what is peanut butter rice doing next to your oxtail? To me, it's still a no, right? But I will do you the courtesy of clarifying for the public out there that it was not oxtail mixed with peanut butter. Because there was a lot of discourse, and people did come into our mentions. People said, "Look, man, yes, we're North Gang, civilly, but it's not that extreme. It's not that extreme." There's others who came in and said, "No, guys, like, we touched a bit of emotions there." So look, guys, all this to say is, stop putting peanut butter in anything. That's all that was saying. But in all seriousness, look, we're joking, guys. It's jokes. So let's not take things hard. Apparently, another thing that one of our listeners sent to us is that in Thailand they do this. They mix, of which I suspected, because there's a few Asian dishes, especially like Chinese dishes, where they do peanut butter sauce with chicken. So I'm not surprised that they do funny things with peanut butter.
Peanut butter chicken
in Asian.
Peanut butter chicken isn't too bad. I've tried it once. It's like it's like a whatchamacallit, curry-ish. Yeah, it is weird.
No,
but
it's not. It's not curry-ish. But
it looks
is what it
like it's curry-ish.
But then, of course, North Gang did not miss an opportunity to flex on us humble Bulawayo folks. So that comment was made saying that apparently this happens in Bali. And that individual said, hey, me, I'm going to try it because I'm on my way to Bali. And then Dan from the Two Broke Twimbos responds and says, where exactly in Bali? Also intimating that he is heading to Bali. So, of course, they couldn't help themselves. They had to tell us, hey, ha, 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 you poor people were going to Bali. So, sincerely, I hope, Dan, I hope your breath smells like peanut butter the whole trip. I hope that's my sincerest hope for you, because that's actually that's unacceptable. But it does look nice. He's been posting a lot of content on his social media, and Bali looks nice. Like they're in
Big
the
ups to
Macayas of
him.
Bali, and that shit is green as fuck, bro. Like
It always looks
wow.
like tropical and really,
Yeah,
really
no, it's
like
next level.
paradisey.
It is. It looks like where
it says
Thanos went after he finished his work. It looks a bit like that. It's just kind of like,
The way he went
fields and
after he
greenery
finished his
and-
work.
Hey, after he finished, he said the work is done, and he retired to a farm. But those are the points of order, Mr. Moyo. Yeah, that we
No,
just had to
Siyabong.
put out
Thank you
there.
for a point of order, Siyabong.
And then one of our listeners here has asked us to discuss Indabaga Gary Lineker, and I figured we could just touch on it briefly. To give people a little bit of context, Gary Lineker has stepped away, or is stepping away, from his responsibilities at the BBC. He's a football presenter. I think he does Match of the Day or something like that on the BBC channels in the UK.
He's been doing it for the last 25 years.
Yeah, 25, 30 years he's been with the BBC. And it's all things kind of went left from the point when Gary started being vocal about being pro-Palestine, and it just has not been a comfortable place in the BBC because, of course, the UK, at least from a governmental point of view, seems to be pro-Israel and not pro-Palestine. So it's been very, very shaky for him, in the job and stuff like that. So the straw that broke the camel's back, if anyone is unaware, is Gary Lineker reposted a video on his social media, and there was a rat emoji on the video. And to me, I couldn't believe. So he came out with an apology, obviously. So apparently the rat emoji has anti-Semitic connotations. Do you know what the connotations are, Senna, specifically? Because I couldn't find information on that.
Nope, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still confused as to what exactly the anti-Semitic connotations are. But what's funny is if you play the video, right, the message in the video is so powerful, right, and very important rather for us to know and to hear. But it's almost like these guys, obviously we're dealing with state media, right? And if they wanted to push a certain narrative, they have the ability to manipulate our thoughts to think a certain way or not to focus on certain things, right? But I'm just trying to load up the video just so everybody has a little bit of context on their side. But it's basically just talking about what is the definition of like a Zionist, right? And kind of phrasing it into context. I thought, to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is not like a crazy video or anything, of that sort and whatever. But I guess a lot of people didn't feel that way. So he had to then put on an apology and say, look, I didn't notice. But then where I call cap is that if this is the video indeed that he shared, the rat emoji is right there, bro. So he, in his apology video, he says, guys, I didn't mean to. I wouldn't have shared if I had realized that the rat emoji was there. It is right there, Senna. It's so like, I'm like, bro, this shit is literally right there. But anyway, let me quickly share the video.
the Zionist movement and Zionism on the ground is the idea of creating not only a Jewish state, but at the expense of the indigenous Palestinian population. What Zionism is the idea of privileging and giving exclusive rights to one group of people at the expense of another group of people. This isn't liberal. This isn't relating to equality. There isn't a single Zionist who's able to say that they actually believe that Palestinians have the exact same rights as Israelis who are living in that country. And this is the fundamental problem with Zionism. The fact that we're trying to make a distinction between what happened in 48 and what happened in 67 is a false distinction to be making. Zionism, as its fundamental core, is the idea of privileging one group of people over another. And the way that they created a Zionist state in the first place was to expel millions, hundreds of thousands, now millions of Palestinian refugees, including my family. And the way that you create a bigger Zionist state is to do the exact same process. I think that it's important to keep in mind that between the period of 1948 and 1967, which people are sort of trying to idealize as being the great years of Israel, there were Palestinians who were citizens of that state, were living under military rule. First of all, immigration issues. My family hails from a town that is in the Galilee, and they were ethnically cleansed from their homes in 1948, have never been allowed to return back, even though they themselves are citizens of the state of Israel. Were considered present absentees.
So that was the video, right? And then this is Mr. Lineker's apology about said video.
Hi everyone, some personal news. Last week I shared a post here on Instagram that contained an emoji that has awful connotations. Unfortunately, I did not see the emoji. If I had, I would never ever have shared it. The minute I was made aware, I quickly deleted the post and went on to make an apology. I would like once again to say I'm sorry unreservedly for the hurt and upset caused. It was a genuine mistake and oversight, but I should have been more diligent. I know that. I've stood up for minorities and humanitarian issues and against all forms of racism all of my life, including, of course, anti-Semitism, which I absolutely abhor. There's no place for it and never should be. So I think it's best for all concerned that I step down from BBC presenting duties altogether and not do next season's FA Cup or World Cup. The final day of the Premier League season on Sunday will be my last show. It's been a pleasure and a huge privilege working with the BBC for 30 years, especially hosting Match of the Day, a programme that is so close to my heart.
He then goes into more football-related, stuff. But what I wanted you to see, Sen, is... So you couldn't even see the video I was sharing, or you just couldn't?
No, I saw the video.
See it.
The video I saw.
Okay.
But then I
so you saw where the...
Yeah, but I saw the thing. I saw where it was at.
You saw the rat, right? Mm-hmm. How do you not see where the rat is, bro? Like, that's actually crazy. But
I think he saw it, but maybe it didn't cross his mind what it was.
Yeah, I think he didn't know that which is what I'm saying. I'm still trying to research, and figure out what is the link between a rat and anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Look, but that's
the thing I need to know.
And that's the thing. I think when you operate in the public, as a lot of former footballers do, a lot of people, presenters, influencers, YouTubers, even podcasters, I think you must now be in a place where you are aware of so many things, and you must always be careful and just be informed. Always stay informed. Okay, what's offensive if I do this? Because they catch you slipping, one click and your career is over.
But you know what? You know what I really think? I honestly think, look, the problem is, obviously, Lineker is huge, right? In the UK. In UK and in football, Lineker is huge in the media space. And I think the media, the pro-Israeli media, was determined to make sure that video cannot stay on his Instagram, given who he is, right? You don't want to win over more support for Palestine. So I think they had to come up with something to be like, no, because obviously now if there's pressure, right, there's perceived pressure that you're being anti-Semitic, he doesn't want to be anti-Semitic, right? And a lot, and I think a lot of the pro-Israeli defense has been trying to label people anti-Semitic when people aren't trying to be anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
They're just trying to stick up for Palestine and say, hey, look, this is going on, a genocide is going on, and it shouldn't be happening. That's what a lot of people are trying to say. But then, especially the big people who have a huge platform, they easily catch the you're an anti-Semite remarks, and I think that's an intentional strategy, because no one wants to be labeled that, and it quickly dissuades you from trying to share any more pro-Palestine, information out there. So I just think it's a defensive strategy, but I don't know. What do you think?
Information. We're living in the information age, right? There's information overload. There's people are, because even the way I think we've spoken about how the United States is on issues. It's either you're here or you're there, or you're pro or you're anti. There's never really room for a middle ground. So, especially on social media, there's always just going to be a battle of narrative and a battle of making sure that we get certain information at certain times, be it pro or against someone or someone else, right? I think social media is not even set up for that.
We're always being manipulated.
Yeah.
I fully believe that, to one side.
Do you know what I mean? So, and that's part of it, right? Some of the stuff is dangled in front of you. Then it's a retweet and a repost, and then gotcha. You know what I mean? And especially like Lineker has been fighting with the BBC for years now, over this issue, which, to be honest, the BBC should have been clear with him about what he can and can't say, in terms of like politically all those years ago. So I don't think it should have been like a surprise. Now they're reacting sort of on the job, and it's clumsy and it's messy, and then you don't even know what the actual procedures are. I think they should have been clear with him to be like, Chief, here you're here to work. You don't say XYZ. Keep it for your own spare time. But the challenge is, he believes that genuinely you can't be neutral about this. So he's like, irrespective of whatever, I'm just going to continue saying whatever I say, because surely you guys will allow me. And the problem with the BBC is that it's never been neutral on some like genuine matters, be it Zimbabwe, be it Ukraine, be it whatever. There's no... they often take a stand.
I'm glad you mentioned Ukraine, because at best believe, if it was a pro-Ukraine narrative that he was pushing, no one from media says, hey, this is a problem.
Maybe.
Nobody says that.
Yeah, so that's what you have now, right? So we are currently in the information war. And now there's algorithms, there's AI, there's things which are feeding us constant information every single day at a time. Do you know that today I have barely seen any post relating to anything else other than the cup final today? I'm like, surely there's other things that should be happening in my world of Twitter. It can't just be this game. But literally, like, all content is curated, it's incessant, it's this, it's that. And to a point where I even said, it feels like the Man United media circus has started. It's like everywhere, right? And it's like that with wars and things which are political. Someone is paying for certain influence, someone is paying for your social media to look and behave a certain way. And yeah, man, it's angas.
Yeah, they hit you with the agaz.
Like agazi. I don't think it's anything you can guard against. I don't think it's anything you can stop. But just what you need to be is just aware when you use social media, when you use when you're speaking out wherever in public. Just know what's offensive, what's not, and know the environment that you're in.
Yeah, I think again, yeah. Hopefully, if anyone knows the connotation between a rat and and Jewish people, or whatever, please feel free to DM us. I'd love to know. In case I don't find it, but yeah, to me, I was just like, no matter what he posted, it was about getting that video off of the the social media streets. That's because it's damning, right? But anyway, it is what it is. We have to move it along. Real quick, I forgot to mention. So I finally got around to watching two things. Number one, Thunderbolts. I don't know if I talked about it already. The movie is okay. It was good. It's good. I take it back. It was good. It's a good watch. Yes, it's a good watch. If you're paying attention to social media, it's probably been spoiled for you. Actually, do me a favor. Go on your New Metro, app or the website, and just see if the movie Thunderbolts is showing or it's under a different title.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, I liked it. I enjoyed the movie. But one of my fears that I had when I mentioned it a few weeks ago was the villain that they had was OP, right? Super overpowered. And you have street level heroes, right? You had brawlers effectively as the superhero team. And it just doesn't make sense. How do you have a Superman level villain and then you have, a fit version of Tabo and Senna to fight him, right? So the way the skirmish was ended, it was very different. It was very different. Like it was done in a way I was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting idea. I was like, I would have preferred, the boom, bam, kick, right? But it brought light to mental health. And I was like, okay, cool.
So what did you want me to see on New Metro?
What's the title?
Thunderbolts.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so they're sticking with that. But anyway, if you get around to seeing, you'll understand why I asked you that question. But
Okay.
So I'll leave that as that. But yeah, I just think the ending was different. It was very short. It was like literally almost 2 hours on the dot. Sorry, an hour and 2 hours. 2 hours actually. Yeah, 2 hours, almost an hour and a half. Which to me, I think a comic book movie needs to be 2.5 hours to hit the sweet spot. But it needs to be like a proper plot, right? At the end of the day. I don't think 2 hours is enough for a new team that you're introducing and you want to establish some stuff. But overall, yeah, it was okay. So I just wanted to just put that out there. Y'all should go, check it out. The one that I actually wanted to speak on, I got around to watching Mufasa because it's been on Disney Plus for I think since December or some shit, right?
You hadn't
And I've
watched
just been
Mufasa this
seeing
whole
it.
time?
I hadn't seen Mufasa this whole time, bro. Like I was just kind of like, because I rewatched The Lion King and then I rewatched The Lion King the new one, the Beyonce version, right? And I didn't like it because the lions just looked weird to me, right? It doesn't hit like the anime, so I really had no, veve to go and watch Mufasa in the movie. So I felt really bad after I watched it because I was like, yo, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed I had heard mixed reviews, right? People saying, we didn't need it. It was just this, that. I really, so you've seen it, right?
Mufasa, yeah. I watched it with
Okay.
with my nephew a couple of months ago.
Okay, great. So it's at least I'm not spoiling anything for you.
No.
Spoiler alert, somewhat. It's not real spoilers to be honest, but I really enjoyed when Scar and Simba were teens, still living with the foster parents. That moment, that dynamic, I really enjoyed that in the movie. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I feel like the whole Rafiki retelling the story to Kiara was a retread because I think, if I remember correctly, I think Lion King 3 is like Timon and Pumbaa reminiscing. So if that is the case, then yeah, it felt a bit stale to me. But if it's
Yeah,
not
and
the
there
case,
is
then okay,
there is a
that's what it
Lion
is.
King too, where they've basically walked that one all the way back.
Yeah.
So Lion King 2 has Kiara as a teen.
No, as a cop. Oh yeah, as a teen.
No,
You're
it
right.
has
You're
her
right.
as
You're
a
right. You're right. You're
teen.
right. Yeah, as a teen. Yeah, with her and Kovu. I remember. I remember. So they've retconned it, right? Because they didn't have two kids by
No,
then.
no, they had one. It was just Kiara, and then I
It
think
was just
Govu
Kiara.
came as an son-in-law, Spari type
Exactly.
situation.
Exactly. So that was so that happened. But I really liked the Outside Alliance. I think I need to look up the cast because I'm pretty sure it's the dude who was Hannibal. He played Hannibal, right? In the series Hannibal. You know who I'm talking about, right?
No,
Dude, is it Mads Mikkelsen?
I didn't watch Hannibal.
Yes, it is. You said you didn't watch what?
Hannibal.
Dude, what the hell? You should watch Hannibal. Yo, you would love that show. But anyway, Kiara was Blue Ivy. Hey, yes, the nepotism baggage. but anyway, so it is Mads Mikkelsen. I think Mads Mikkelsen should have been Scar in the Lion King that was released in like 2019. He should have been Scar because he had the sneakiness, the deviousness, he had that, And I didn't like, Chiwetel Ejiofor's rendition of it. It just didn't hit for me. But anyway, I liked him and his Outsider Lions and the White Lions and all that kind of stuff. Like, they were dope. And I loved how the lionesses that he was rolling with were just tracking the shit out of these niggas, bro. Like, they were on smoke the whole time. So that was dope. I really enjoyed that. But what I will say didn't make any sense is Scar started out as a bit of an idiot, right? Like, he's not king material. He's a beta, and you know what I mean? Like, it was just he was just clumsy. He was the clumsy little brother, effectively. That was the character that he had. And then Mufasa snatches his babe, which is foul by Mufasa, by the way. Very, very foul, but whatever. Mufasa snatches Sarabi, and then all of a sudden, he flips to the devious, Scar. Because Scar was very intelligent. He's a very, very intelligent character. From the original movie, Scar was intelligent, right? And devious and a mastermind. But the Scar that was growing up was none of that. How do you go from basically being a buffoon to devious?
It's very easy. This one I can explain to you.
In one scene.
How?
In
Let
one
me tell
scene.
you. How? Mjolo. You are lying.
So you think Mufasa soft launched him into
you
his
are
destiny?
lying. Dude, Mjolo. This guy.
Nah, I said that, bro.
This guy.
That didn't make sense. I'm sorry.
Jokes. You're a very funny man.
To me, it just did it, bro. In one scene, and the thing is, Mufasa was trying to be the boy, because when the elephant thing happened, right? He tells Sarabi, no, it was Scar who saved you. And then Scar says, oh, what should I say? What should I say? And he tips Scar that, oh, tell her the flowers, whatever flowers that she likes, etc, etc. And then, Scar hit her with the boss. She goes, oh, okay. And then next thing, she then puts two and two together that no. It's not the homie. It's you. You are the king. And then I don't know, bro. I just think they could have done that transition better. I found it very hard to believe based off of the character Scar was. I really liked him. Like, him before he went villain was really dope. But yeah, because one thing they got from the beginning was that he was a coward, right? So that was the way that they did it. That those two white lions came and attacked the foster mother and Simba, and Scar ran away. The Queen goes, guys, run away, and Scar was like, "Say less, I'm out of there, bro."
You see,
which is so foul.
you see.
But I mean, look, it was I overall I really really enjoyed it. I only realized halfway that it was the Aaron P.A. That's Mufasa. I only realized I was like, oh god, and shit.
Mufasa.
I was like,
You're not serious.
no, because I was like, wait, why does this voice sound familiar? But it's not, James Earl Jones, right? So I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, he said, what's that? What did they say? Singwenya. What is that thing? Nan Singwenya. That they kept saying that as a phrase though. They were singing it. I was, and he said it very well. I was very impressed. I was very, very impressed with how Aaron Pierce said that phrase. Okay, cool. But then also John Kani, it's almost like they asked him to chope Isuzu. There were a few things that he was saying. I was like, bro,
it doesn't
how does this make
sound.
sense? It doesn't sound right. So there'll be other phrases he says perfectly, and then there were a few phrases I just didn't write them down. I was like, bro, why are you chopping this? Because I was like, no, I'm pretty sure this is John Kani.
Maybe I think they
other moments
asked
like,
him to make it a specific way.
But I'd be offended personally.
You would be offended, but if you were,
Yeah. No, if they asked me, someone said chope, can you chope? Can you say, instead of saying Ndebele, can you say Ndebele?
in the belly.
I would be very upset.
I
I'd be very
understand. I would be too.
Yeah. But,
would
but
be
overall,
too.
no, good movie. Good movie. I just wanted to say that, like, if you're debating, I think
Yeah.
you should watch it. I'm shocked it only has a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think there were parts that could have been better. I think some of the songs were a bit soapy, and
I liked the lack of songs. They went a lot of songs, and I was like, okay, cool. I fucked with this. I'm not a musicals type of guy.
yeah. But I mean, if you're making it I think the people who are going to bring this to cinemas and drag their parents are the kids. I went as quickly as I did because I like, this is out. I need to go with my nephew. So you also need to make it, catchy, like, and I just can't wait to be king.
Fair.
But they did have that other song, I Always Wanted a Brother. It's catchy.
Yeah, but that one was kind of like, I didn't know about that. And also, they didn't need to keep making the Lion King references. So there's two moments where Scar grabs Mufasa by the claws. They did that like twice, 2 or 3 times. I was like, guys, there's no need to make it so obvious. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to fall into that trap when you do a prequel,
A remake,
right?
yeah. A prequel,
because now you really want to make so this is this is that, and like again also how Scar
What did
got his
you-
Scar
what-
wasn't
yeah.
that impressed by that. I was like,
Yeah, how Scar got his scar, and what did you think of how Pride Rock was formed?
Also, that didn't make no sense. I was like, what? I'm glad you mentioned that. Oh, man, like really? This is what we're going with. I was like, nah, like cap. And then also, what time did Simba learn to swim? Like they set that up beautifully that he has a phobia of swimming, beautifully, consistently throughout the movie. All
Yeah,
of a
but
sudden,
Angiti, his mom
You
said
now know
he
how to
must. His mom said he must close his eyes.
I guess you see these are the things where it's like, look, I think you either need to start the movie. If you start the movie on some bullshit, just be consistent with your bullshit, right? But if you start the movie somewhat grounded and you set the rules, yeah, like there were multiple moments where you could have had Simba swim and he didn't. So you've made this thing of not swimming a proper phobia, right? And rightfully so. And I'm like, okay, I like that angle. I really like that angle from Mufasa. But also, I think also I'll let that one go. My biggest critique, just to kind of wrap all of this up, is the what do you call this? Oh my gosh, my mind is blanking. The parallels between Mufasa and Simba were too close. Way too close. Like, I can't tell the difference. If I changed the movie to just Lion King, this really could have been Lion King, right?
Really?
It could, It could have been Simba. What is the difference between Mufasa and Simba besides the swimming thing? What's the difference?
I'm trying to see.
No, and I mean, I don't mean, and again, I'm not saying the movie, I'm talking the characters. What is the difference between Mufasa, the character, and Simba, the character? There's absolutely no difference.
But I
I
guess
think that was my biggest pet peeve.
But should there be? I guess so.
Yes.
But
I think there should be. Because what's the point if you're going to say, oh, we're going to tell you Mufasa's backstory and how him and Scar became him and Scar, right? Then what you're telling me is you are creating brand new personalities, right? That's what you're telling me. So you made Simba the protagonist in the Lion King, right? He grew into his own, and he became the next heir apparent. But like, for example, you look at Scar's dad's character, right, versus Scar himself. Those are two very different characters, both somewhat cowards, right? But in different ways. So like, Scar would have probably run away if Scar was the king, he probably runs away. Scar's dad sends Scar away, but we say, nah, I'm standing on business. If we die here, right? So I can already see, okay, cool. Dad, son, somewhat similar, but this is how they're fundamentally different. What are the fundamental differences between Simba and Mufasa, based on the two movies?
I guess there isn't.
They made the same person, and that sucks.
Maybe.
Yeah, but anyway, we have to keep things moving. We have a few minutes here. Bots being exposed. What's going on?
Did you have a look at that whole thing with the... Oh, sorry, I was not leaning back. Did you have a look at that whole thing about the farm, about the people who've been posting about farm murders? No. So, what I think's been happening of late, in this era of disinformation that we've been talking about, they went and found some of these guys, or one of the guys, and it turns out Agulaza farming, he was just a guy chilling, working in his mother's B&B. Then I think it made newspapers.
What are you saying when you say farming? Are you talking like bot farming, or like...
No, not farming. Like, remember the people who said they are farmers and they're being persecuted live from South Africa?
Oh, okay. The white people.
The
refugees.
Well, not them and the refugees.
Your asylum seekers, right?
I'm asylum seekers, Gatabo.
No, they're yours. You said if they don't come from poverty, they can't be refugees. That was what you were saying last week. No,
fair enough. But the whole thing, I guess it comes from the use of X as like this information tool, right? Because I think a lot of us are being, I think we spoke about that our information is being controlled and all of these things. So when you look at the use of X, so you turn out that a lot of these guys who post like the super politically charged content, whether it's pro-Palestine or pro-Israel or Afrikaans farmers or this, it's always as if these people are like tweeting live from the place. They went and they found this guy, he's just chilling at home, spamming tweets out. I think they called it, was it docking or doxing in the UK or whatever. And then this week alone, people found out that Grok was spreading misinformation, or had been programmed to spread misinformation. I'm not sure if you saw that. It just kind of makes me wonder the era of information that we're actually in, where these are the accounts that go viral, and even the AI bot that's responding to you online is programmed to tell you something else or give you false answers. That was an epic thing I was thinking about.
You don't sound like it was epic.
It was scary, man.
Oh my god.
I think epic in the sense that is the magnitude. of
No, I understand. I get what I'm
surveillance
just giving you
and
shit.
misinformation that we're dealing with.
Side note. I think Simba, Mufasa's dad, was called Maseo.
I've forgotten.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on IMDb. His name is Maseo. You know this thing of Disney needs to stop it. Disney wants to use Nguni languages, wants to use East Africa as the, location, and then they want to use West African influences and accents. And I'm just like, pick one, bro. Like, we are not some freaking monolith. That shit's gonna vex. One day, I hope to be successful enough to tell the Disney CEO beans to his face. To be like,
But I get it, their whole thing is trying to show you Uguti they are inclusive of Africa. So they'll try
Yeah,
bring
but
in
you
as
can-
much
like, look,
Africa
bro.
as possible. So when they're investing in art, there's no Zimbabwean arts budget, there's an African art budget. To an
no, I
extent
get
where
that, but just don't clang. And I guess obviously they can get away with it in like stuff like cartoons and whatever, right? But like this is more honestly, this is a veiled Black Panther pet peeve thing, because I know you saw the tribes and the whatevers and the this and that, like. But even the tribes thing, that made sense in terms of different tribes of different parts of Africa. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But like, then let them speak different languages, right? And
Pull
showcase
together.
that. Like, don't try to make it as Chwala of Africans, which is, to me, is what I believe that they're trying to do, because they don't rate us. But anyway, let me not get sidetracked and run away from this. What did Cyril met Trump? I thought Trump was in the Middle East
they're meeting today.
to
I think.
discuss what? The farmers.
The farmers. I think what's funny is
What? Does he want his farmers back?
No. I think so. The whole challenge with this whole farmers thing is it's clearly like a disinformation thing. Like there's clearly like a disinformation war, and that's I think what I was trying to tie sort of this whole thing into. That it comes from Elon, it comes from Twitter, it comes from Trump, it comes from all these guys, and they're using every tool they have, to fight this war. And then now they're taking on the refugees, and I think it's to get maybe better trade deals for the US, as you always say, or it's for Elon to bring Starlink to South Africa. Either way, they're meeting with Cyril Trump today at the White House with Rupert and the other people that run this country. So we'll see whether they give him the Zelensky treatment or not. That was disrespectful.
Yeah, that was actually so wild. But I mean, Cyril's got some aura, man. Like, social media has had his back the last couple of weeks with his, his aura farming and just how people are like cheesing just by being around Cyril. It's so funny, man. When I see those posts, like, I laugh so hard, man. But I think, yeah, let's see what happens. I'd be like, Trump, do you want more? But like, that's just the funniest way to decolonize a country, bro. That's just so funny. But I saw on TikTok there was a hearing in the States where they were debating this. How did these South African farmers, they're not being persecuted. The case was being made that, look, there's a government of unity in South Africa right now, and one of the parts of that government of unity is the DA, which is majority, Afrikaans, right? Or looking at for majority Afrikaans interests or Afrikaner interests. So it's how can you call these people persecuted and fearing for their lives or whatever? So it is a big issue right now in America, in the political space.
You still
'Cause it is
don't
weird.
get my theory that Trump is trying to import cheap labor to farm in America.
No, because again, why would you pick it doesn't make sense to pick a very privileged group of people, because if you're looking at cheap labor, get the Klabons, because the Klabons will be like, passport, you know what I mean? But these guys, they came from being top dogs. They have 80% of the land. And
Well,
you want
this
to go and tell
whole-
them beans.
So what's the purpose behind this refugee thing? Is it just to be like...
I still don't know, bro. I think it's I think it's closer to what you're saying in terms of some form of a deal, Starlink, Elon, something. I think it's more along those lines.
Or to be
But you
like,
should
oh look,
watch,
so that, yeah.
no, I was saying you should watch. I don't have the TikTok, but you know that guy who makes fun of like coconuts. I think is what's his name, Troy Shepherds or whatever. He did a video on the white farmers when they got to the US. Probably one of his best videos ever, bro. It's so funny. I'll send it to you, bro.
Okay.
So, bro, like it's freaking hilarious. But I think, yeah, I'm just looking at time. Like, I think you're right. Somewhere there, we were styling deals is somewhere, because it's very random to take 50 white South Africans and be like, yo, pull up.
But then that's not even
It's
doing the
more
whole
random than the tariffs.
refugee. It's making the whole refugee thing of it look a bit silly, right? Because what do you mean they're refugees and leave 50? Like,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're a classroom in a country of 50 million.
Yeah. It's so yeah. It needs to. John Stewart actually made a very, very, the Tombando.
Daily Show.
Daily Show. No, not to Daily Show. Joe Biden. It just came out that he has stage 4 cancer, right? And obviously people are like, yo, what the hell? You guys wanted this. You were peddling this guy to run and etc, right?
Yeah.
So basically, for me, or rather, now you can tell me the host name on the Daily Show.
John Stewart.
There we go, John Stewart. So
You're the one who said it.
I know. My mind is everywhere. So John Stewart made a very, very good point in this week's episode. He was like, look, the Democrats are wrong because 110%, this is not new information. Like the majority of the country is finding out now, right? The official diagnosis. But everybody knew that Joe Biden was not fit to run for a second term. He wasn't, everything wasn't where it was supposed to be with respect to Joe Biden. But then he made fun of left media who were saying, "Oh, Joe Biden, he's sharp as a whip right now. Like he works so hard, like he outworks me, and I'm embarrassed." So like they were peddling all these different narratives on all the different news channels, right? And the point that he made, which I thought was like, that's a very, very good point, was both sides are trying to mask a lot of information. And the problem, and what you as Americans should take note of is, if they went this far to say this about Joe Biden, if the people are willing to go this far to pretend Joe Biden was okay to run for presidency, if we look at the right side of things, there's a bunch of people that are saying, so he played clips of people saying, with regards to Trump, oh, Trump is the most transparent president ever. He's really just trying to do this for the people. He's the first president of the people, blah, 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 blah. So he juxtaposed the two. And I was like, this guy's fucking brilliant. So he was like, look at it on both sides. Yes, the Dems, Siavuma, this is their sin. But if people are going out of their way to saying Trump is the most non-shady president, transparent president, honest president that I've ever seen in a long time, then you should be investigating that because it's probably the opposite when it comes to Trump. And I thought the way he did it was like brilliant. I was like, oh yeah, cool. I see what you're doing, dog. I see what you're doing. And yeah, because I think like you're saying, me and you have had many conversations about Trump where it's just like, what is he doing? Like it doesn't make sense. Like it's and that's because dodgy things are happening.
And people and the funny
whether
thing
they're
is,
for America, we don't know.
and it's always like this weird, like Trump presidency is so funny, man. Like there'll be history books written about this period in modern history, because I always get the sense that he schemes a lot. Him and Zuma, like it's almost like the same WhatsApp group. There's a lot of scheming, some of the policies don't make sense. But then you just see people winning elections,
Senna,
and you're
you
like,
know what? You hit the nail on the head when you said the Zuma comp, right? Because a lot of people thought Zuma was an idiot, singing fool, right? That's a lot of the energy that people had with Zuma. Just corrupt, ufuna imali kuphela, no vision, right? And it's very similar type of raps about Trump. Hey, how is he even president? Hey, everything he says is so foolish. Da 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 da. Like obviously, I asked Linda to insert the fat drug clip. That was so. Oh my God, Trump is so funny, bro.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. Said, President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
But anyway, so it's that type of stuff that Trump is consistently putting out there, right? And I think it's all, to hoodwink. It's like Houdini type shit, right?
Yeah.
Where it's optical illusion. Focus here, right? Because you're not going to look at the stuff happening in the periphery right in front of you. And I think that's where Trump and Zuma do share a lot of qualities, where, the people who think themselves intelligent don't rate them. And they think, this guy is dwas. What an idiot. And that's where it ends. Kanti is cooking up a madness, and you can't even see it in front of you. So I guess we'll see. We'll see the results in the next 4 years. Hopefully it is pro-America, but yeah, let's see, bro. Let's see.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to wrap it up here. Let me just take a look and see if there's anything that I missed. Yeah, man. Oh, we need to touch on this. This is something that's been, at least on my side, for at least 2 to 3 weeks now. There's this agenda that heterosexual men do not like women outside of wanting to have sex with them.
Oh, that thing is back again.
Hey, bro, it's a very interesting conversation, that one. I'm just reading the comments and I'm like, hey, yeah, I think we can well, that'll be for next week. That'll be the teaser for next week. And look into Ryan Clark versus RG3. Someone got stuck with his hand in the milk machine, and it got awkward. But I guess we have to leave it here for now. Nice and tight. Unfortunately, we just don't have the time, y'all. Which is, it's funny, guys. Senna every other week, every other day is texting me, hey, I'm so busy. I'm so busy, bro. I'm sleeping for 2 hours and then I'm just working. But he's busy in the group. But I'm a paragraph about Amarim and United and this. I just see your name pop up and I'm like, and I'm working. I'm literally trying to do my shit and I'm just like, oh, all right, guys.
Bro.
Text out to city, guys. I've only slept 30 minutes.
Because I would
now.
As when you take your break for 5 minutes, you reply to some
No,
message.
because I'll be feeling bad. You know what's happening? You send me these messages, right? And I'm like, man, yeah, I wish I could help my nigga, right? That's how I feel when you say these things to me. And then, United, Amorim, like, guys, do you have time or you don't have time? Anyway, guys, y'all know what it is. Like the thing, subscribe to the thing, retweet the thing. And if you don't, we're inclined to believe you're on the fat track. Mr. Moy.
Laters.